Hey everyone, Andrew back again, and welcome to another episode of my top 50 horror movies of all time. So we're nearly at the end of the series. There's only this one and next week to go, and then we'll be completely done. So it's been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed everyone else's videos that has been participating in this series as well. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into today's list, which will be numbers 20 down to 11. Alright, so sitting at number 20, we have The Gate. And this is a really awesome 80s horror movie. Everything I love about 80s horror. It's cheesy, it's a lot of fun actors, fun storyline, great creature feature. Basically, this one is about two young boys who discover some creatures living down a hole in their backyard, and basically the creatures torment them for the remainder of the film, and it's basically up to them to put a stop to it. A lot of fun, really cheesy as I said, but this is just pure 80s for me. I love it. I do feel it's pretty underrated, and I really wish that a company would put this out onto Blu-ray. So yeah, number 20 is The Gate. Number 19 goes to The Blob, and this is one of my all-time favourite creature features. I absolutely love it, especially from a special effects standpoint. The Blob, the creature effects, the kills in this movie, they just look absolutely awesome. This one's got another really awesome 80s vibe to it. It is a remake, but yeah, I absolutely love this 80s remake of The Blob, so that's why it sits at number 19. Number 18 goes to John Carpenter's The Thing, and this is definitely one of my all-time favourite John Carpenter movies and one of my all-time favourite sci-fi horrors, especially for the location. This one is set in Antarctica, and I absolutely love the snowy setting to this movie. Great atmosphere, really creepy. But the thing that I love most about this movie is the fact that you never really know who is infected with the alien creature within this film. So it gives a great sense of dread, really good suspense throughout. Just an absolute classic. So The Thing sits at number 18. Number 17 goes to another John Carpenter movie, and that is The Fog. This one, from an atmospheric standpoint, is one of my absolute favourites. This one has absolutely amazing atmosphere throughout the entire movie. It's creepy, it's eerie, really good characters. This one is a ghost movie about ghost pirates, which is pretty awesome. I love the seaside setting of Antonio Bay. I love the lighthouse, and this one has some pretty awesome characters. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis in it and Tom Atkins, so really good cast and just an absolute classic. So that one sits at number 17. Number 16 goes to The Monster Squad, and to me this is the perfect movie when it comes to classic Universal monsters. Now, I'm going to admit I'm not a massive fan of the original Universal monster movies. They are a little bit too old school for me. I do like them, and I think they did a hell of a lot for the horror genre, obviously, but when it comes to getting my fix of the classic monsters, The Monster Squad is where it's at. To me, this is the perfect movie. It blends all of them together really well. This is just such a fun 80s horror movie, the perfect 80s horror movie in my opinion. This one is essentially the Goonies horror style, really. That's the best way to sum up The Monster Squad. So yeah, absolutely love this. I watch it repeatedly. I've seen it a ton of times over the years, and it's always been one of my all-time favourites. So that's why The Monster Squad sits at number 16. Number 15 goes to Friday the 13th Part 3. Now, I'm a massive fan of this franchise. It's my second favourite horror franchise next to Halloween, and from a slasher standpoint you really cannot go past the amazing kills in pretty much the entire series. So this was kind of difficult picking one, because I do have three standout favourites from the series. This one, Part 2 and Part 6. It was really a tough decision between this one and part 2, but this is my favourite because this one has my favourite Jason in it, and it also has probably my favourite ending with Chris smacking the axe into Jason's head. Absolutely love the ending to this. This one has some really awesome characters, some really awesome kills. This one was the first time that Jason found the hockey mask, so that was another big standout for me. But yeah, overall I love the entire franchise, but part 3 of Friday the 13th would be my favourite entry into the series, so that's why it sits at number 15. Sitting at number 14 goes to Dawn of the Dead, and this is an absolutely classic zombie film. It's not my all-time favourite, you will be seeing that later on in the list, but I absolutely love this movie, especially from a character and story development standpoint. You really cannot go past Dawn of the Dead. It's got amazing characters, really, really good storyline and good story development. Of course, I absolutely love the setting in the mall. It's got some pretty cool looking zombies, some good effects, and yeah, it's just an absolute classic. So Dawn of the Dead sits at number 14. Sitting at number 13 goes to The Lost Boys, and yeah, this is my favourite vampire film of all time. I absolutely love it. Being a massive fan of the 80s, of course you cannot go past this movie. Just from the outfits and the hair designs alone, this one is just pure 80s. I love the setting near the beach. Really cool characters, of course. It's got Corey Haim in it, and he's one of my favourite 80s kid actors of all time. Also got Corey Feldman in it, another great one. Yeah, this is just absolutely fantastic. Really cool soundtrack as well, and some really cool visuals and scenes throughout this movie. So, classic 80s film, The Lost Boys, sits at number 13. Number 12 goes to Sleepaway Camp, and I absolutely love this slasher movie, especially from the character standpoint of Angela, because it's not very common where you see a female killer as a slasher. But yeah, this one is absolutely awesome. I love the camp setting. I love how the characters and actors in this movie are a realistic kid age to be at a camp. The kills are pretty fun, but yeah, I just absolutely love the setting the most. I love the character of Angela, and the whole sort of storyline behind her character as well is pretty interesting and pretty unique and different. And that ending is one of the most out there and unforgettable endings in slasher history. So yeah, Sleepaway Camp, absolutely love it, and that's why it sits at number 12. And last but certainly not least for this list, at number 11, it goes to the original A Nightmare on Elm Street. And before I get into my thoughts on this film and why it made 11th spot, I just want to give a few moments to say rest in peace to Wes Craven. He died a couple of days ago of brain cancer, which was a complete shock because pretty much no one except his close family and friends knew about it. So it was a big shock. He was pretty young, he was only 76, but he's done amazing stuff for the horror genre. He's one of my, or was one of my favourite horror directors. And yeah, he's just directed some amazing movies. Not only did he direct stuff like A Nightmare on Elm Street, People Under the Stairs, Last House on the Left, The Hills Have Eyes, but of course he renewed and rebought the slasher genre back with Scream. So he's done a lot for the genre. Really sad to hear of his passing. He will be greatly missed by many horror fans. So yeah, rest in peace Wes Craven. You're amazing, and you released some awesome horror movies. Anyway, with that being said, let's get on to my 11th spot, A Nightmare on Elm Street. What can I say about this movie that hasn't been said already? It's amazing. I think Freddy Krueger in the original movie was an absolutely fantastic character. It's a really unique concept, getting into teenagers' dreams and being really hard for them to escape the killer. Basically, they have to stay awake or they get killed. The kills in this movie are amazing. Absolutely awesome special effects. Every kill in this movie I was just so blown away by and impressed with. Now, I will admit I'm not a massive fan of the sequels. In fact, I'm not too fond of them at all, to be honest. But the original Nightmare on Elm Street, it's an amazing movie. Well worthy of my 11th spot. So, yep, last for this video, and sitting at number 11 goes to the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Alright, so that does it for another episode of my top 50 horror movies of all time, numbers 20 down to 11. Next week will be the grand finale, which will be my top 10 horror movies of all time. So definitely stay on the lookout for that. I've got some pretty awesome movies in that list. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.